Welcome back to In Ohio Country today. And with me, I have Todd Schaub from SNS Volvo. And Todd, before we really start talking about what we're here today for, give us a little bit of background on you and how you happened to land here at SNS Volvo. I mean, I know, like me, you grew up on a dairy farm, so that's a long way from where you're at today.
Yes, I grew up in a small town, Wapakoneta, on a dairy farm. My father, I guess back in the early 90s or so, when dairy prices kind of tanked, came to work here part-time as a salesperson at what would have then been Irwin GMC. After a number of years, he bought the dealership in 1998, I believe it was, at which time I was working for Ford Motor Credit Company. And so in 2002, I came here to work with my father. Things went so well and we grew so fast that my father decided it was more than he wanted to handle. So in 2006, I bought the business outright, and the rest has been a whirlwind.
Well, you know, it's always an interesting story when you talk with someone about where they come from and how their background and how they happen to land. You know, for you, landing in this business is an example. And so, because of your background and growing up with 4-H and all those kind of things, you know, you put a lot of money in youth.
I do. That's one of the things my father instilled in me. I was fortunate enough. I showed rabbits, I think, was my first 4-H project, and on to steers. And actually, there were 4 of us children. We all participated in 4-H. And once Dad purchased the business, he was very active in supporting the junior fair sale and through different means. Once I took it over, we continued the same thing. We actually have developed a 4-H scholarship for children, and we give away a lot of scholarships every year. I think we gave away 10 last year, hoping to give away even more this year. But we support any customer that, if they buy a truck from us, one of the things I always ask them if they have a child, a grandchild in 4-H or FFA, and if they do, it doesn't matter what county, where they're from, we will go support their children or grandchildren or family members. It's just very important. I think a lot of the mechanics and employees that we have in the back come from an ag-based background, and we've had a lot of success with it.
Well, you know, yeah, supporting the youth, because quite frankly, the youth of the today are going to be somebody that's going to be sitting in your chair in the future.
Well, I hope so. I'd like that sooner than later, actually, truth be told. You know, I have 2 daughters that are active in 4-H, and I think 16 and a half and 10, and yes, the sooner the better. I could put somebody in this chair, that'd be great.
Well, you know, Todd, we got a little bit of your background and how you kind of landed here, but let's talk a little bit about SNS Volvo. And you do obviously sell trucks all over, but you do quite a bit of work with the ag community when it comes to furnishing the power that they use on the farms.
We do. We work with a lot of grain elevators, local grain elevators, different farmers, and then actually even down around Darke County and some of the areas, we have customers that haul a large amount of product that might make dog food, for example, or product for G.A. Winsor and Sons that, again, are involved in the ag business. But yes, a lot of that product.
Yeah, you know, so yeah, when people think about ag products, it's not only the corn and the soybeans that are hauled in the trailers, it's all the other things, all the other commodities that go with that.
Yes, exactly. Heinz Farms, their diesel provider uses our tractors to bring in the diesel. The companies that bring in or take out fertilizer, you'd be surprised at how many things move via truck and trailer.
Todd, you know, it's when somebody thinks of a truck, they're obviously not all the same. They're not all used for the same thing, and it's just they're different. What are some of the applications and some of the different types of trucks that SNS and Volvo builds?
We'll start all the way from a medium-duty Isuzu, which could be like a furniture delivery truck, or a little flatbed truck to haul around feed, per se, or whatever it might be, different fencing companies and whatnot. So we'll start there. Then moved to smaller dump trucks that go to a lot of municipalities and county garages, up to bigger dump trucks that you might see out working on I-75 highway widening projects, on to day cab tractors that people use to pull grain hoppers, or dry vans that haul all the Honda freight and a lot of different freight like that, all the way up to big sleepers that might pick up a load in California and deliver it all the way to New York City. Ohio is our core market, but we sell all over the United States. We're pretty fortunate. When I bought the dealership, we had a 6% market share, and we've grown to a 65% market share, which is the highest market share of any Volvo dealer in North America. What we believe in, and what my father has instilled in me, and I just think just the way that I was raised on the farm, is once you get a customer, you take care of them. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're calling on Saturday or Sunday. Just because your business may be closed doesn't mean theirs is. If you take care of that customer, they keep coming back. So we're rather proud of the fact that we rarely lose a customer. Everybody here at SNS Volvo is instructed to go the extra mile. If they get a phone call and there's a problem, they're empowered to make whatever decision necessary to make that truck keep moving or help that customer to get the job done. Because, again, being raised on a farm, if the rain was coming and the hay was still in the field or the grain wagons were still out, you had a problem. You had to get it done. So that's something we've carried to this business, and it's worked out very well for us.
We a little earlier had been discussing about, it's one thing to sell a truck, but, you had made mention about service. You want to talk about that?
Service is super important. Some of the things, to just digress a little bit, we are the only locally owned truck dealership in this area, and family oriented. I'm fortunate enough to have a brother-in-law that works here and a brother who's recently started. But to get back to that, service is of the utmost importance. Currently, we run 7 a.m. to midnight, 6 days a week. And we will probably, at one point we had a third shift, but in 2008 we slowed that down. So we will go back to a third shift. But it's imperative. If there is a truck down, that load needs to move. And so we will drop everything we're doing or do whatever it takes to make sure to get that product moved to market.
Well, yeah. So it's not only servicing, the vehicles that maybe you sold as far as is concerned. You guys also do a lot of service work for your customers in general.
Yes, we're fortunate. We've got a lot of good mechanics here, many of which come from University in Northwestern Ohio, and we work closely with them, and we have customers come in and off the road all of the time. We make service calls when needed. We have a very, very large, about 180 trucks in our lease and rental fleet. So in the event that your truck might go down and it's in harvest season and your combine is full and you need to go, we can send a rental down if we can't get your truck fixed right away, but we can find a way to make things happen.
Well, so we talked about the sale of the truck. We talk about servicing the truck, whether you sold it, somebody else sold it, even whether it's not a Volvo even, right? Mm-hmm. But there's another component to that, and that's the parts aspect.
Parts, that's a very good success story for us. With that, we've grown significantly in parts. We've significantly increased the revenues in there. Because of that, we've been able to maintain a much larger inventory of parts. We have about $2 million worth of parts inventory on hand at any given time. Generally speaking, when someone comes in and something's broke on their truck, we're going to have the part. And that means less downtime.
Well, the part, a lot of the customers you deal with do their own work. It's really imperative to have the own part, because I know, we do a lot of our own work, and it's inevitable that when you call a dealership and they say, gosh, we don't have that part because that part never breaks, that's just not the right answer you want to give somebody.
Correct. We stock virtually every part needed to rebuild a whole truck. In the occurrence we don't have a part, we'll go out right outside there and rob a part off of a brand new truck if we need to keep them moving. We have 4 delivery trucks they leave every morning and they come back and forth, and we deliver parts all over Ohio every day. We try to have a deadline of getting you a part within 2 hours if you need it, at the worst case scenario.
Well, you just made, and that's another point. We talked about the sale, we talked about the service, we talked about the parts, but you talked about being all over Ohio. You want to tell us a little bit about how the folks you service and how far? I mean, if you're watching us in Columbus, Ohio, let's talk a little bit about that.
We travel all over. Every dealership has a defined area of responsibility. However, we have truck or customers that have purchased from us or have needs outside of this area. So we get down that way all the time. We've traveled, we deliver trucks as far as Tallapoosa, Alabama. I don't even know where Tallapoosa, Alabama is, but we do. But all over, we deliver trucks and parts clear into Kentucky and Alabama to take care of our customers' needs.
Todd, we talked about the present, sales, service, parts, the customers you work with. But, what do you see in the future, not only for your business, but for the transportation and the trucking industry?
I see a lot of changes coming. I can tell you for us individually, we're working with a local company right now, Wells Brothers, and we're going to do a significant remodel at this location. We're also, as soon as tomorrow, acquiring property to the south of us to build another location to handle our volume. Volvo continues to tap me on the shoulder to take on other locations, possibly further away from here, and when we're always looking at that. So we're constantly growing. We've had, again, since I purchased it in 2006, we've had continual growth. The industry is changing rapidly, mostly due to emissions requirements, is a big thing. So a lot of people have heard about driverless technology. We actually over at Procter & Gamble have a couple driverless trucks currently because they have their own private roadway. So we're able to test that with Lockheed Martin. So we've been involved in that technology for almost 3 years now. Volvo, again, greenhouse gas and the fuel efficiency and emissions, that continues to be on the forefront. Everybody's heard about electric cars, or there are electric cars, and heard about electric trucks. Volvo, we're lucky to be partnered with Volvo, is they're currently testing wholly electric trucks in Europe at this time, and expect to launch a product or introduce a product into the American market, the U.S. market, within the next 12 to 18 months. So it is changing rapidly, and keeping up with technology is critically important.
There's just so much. It's not just simply a motor and transmission and a steering wheel and tires, right? With nice shiny paint. There's quite a bit to the trucking and transportation side and the dealership side.
You would be shocked to know that on every truck there's at least 6 independent computers, like reporting back to one computer. All of our trucks are standard Volvo trucks with anti-rollover technology, anti-jackknife technology, and what we call smart cruise. So they'll detect stationary objects and automatically stop the truck, as well as moving objects that will automatically stop the truck using XY laser and camera. They also have lane departure systems. Volvo is the most advanced truck on the market as far as safety and technology. So, and we pride ourselves on that. We pride ourselves on, every person's life is important, and we don't want to see anybody get hurt in one of our trucks.
Well, that's the other part of that of the equation, because as you know, the industry's moved to the ELDs, and making the truck smarter is really about what that's about.
Yes, they're again have drastically improved fuel mileage, torque, power, the technology. It's just different than the old trucks that blow a lot of black smoke and make a lot of noise. It's changing, and you have to embrace change in technology. I mean, we've done it, I'm sure, with lots of your farm equipment. I know when it first come out on trucks, people were like, I don't want SCR or urea, and Now it's on all of the farm equipment that's out there.
That's right. The technology, from the emission standpoint, it's not only affecting, as you mentioned, the trucking side of it. It's affecting construction, agricultural equipment, because now we're all tier 4 and all those things for the compliance.
Yes, I think again, you just have to stay current with technology. It's a different world, a different environment. It's awesome again from an employment standpoint. We've got a lot of good kids with a ton of training. It's required to keep all of the equipment up and running today.
Todd, if somebody wanted to find out more information, where can we send them?
To our website at www.ssvolvo.com, or you could call our 800 number, which is 1-800-354-7946.
Well, Todd, always a lot of moving parts here, literally and figuratively, at SNS Volvo. Thanks for being with us today.
All right, thank you very much.
We'll be back with more in Ohio Country Today right after this.